Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. This one may be a little bit controversial or different or interesting. At least I hope you think so. We're talking about Nielsen's Fourth Symphony, the Inextinguishable, or as they say in Danish, Det Inextinguishable. Yes, it's amazing. It's an incredible piece. My God, it's exciting, with the finale that has two sets of timpani at opposite ends of the stage, banging it out against each other, these timpani duels, and Jesus, it's thrilling. It's also in cyclical form, fabulous cyclical form. It has a tune that comes back at the very end, that you hear at the very beginning, which is the second subject of the first movement. Da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Oh, it goes like that, sort of, kind of. And it's a very tricky piece to bring off in terms of tempo relationships. And more often than not, it fails dismally. Well, it doesn't fail dismally. It's too exciting to really fail, but it could be better. And the key, as I've said many times in talking about this piece, is to drive the thing home like a pile driver. It's going to be thrilling and exciting. You see, Nielsen is really the closest composer of the Romantic period to Beethoven, who had that kind of craggy, raw, intense, powerful, forward-moving energy. Think about it. He wrote 6 symphonies. 4 of them begin like a shot. No introductions, no fuss, no bother, just bang, and off they go. And that really is sort of key to everything you need to know about him. I mean, he had this incredible sense of muscular energy, and that has to be preserved at all costs. Whatever else you do in the symphony, you can futz around as much as you like in the inner movements, and you could doodle and diddle and twiddle and twaddle and all the things that conductors like to do, but you can't stop the momentum. And so many performances do. You got to wonder why they even bother if that's what they're going to try. You really have to, it doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, the fourth is the most popular of all the Nielsen symphonies. It's received the most recordings, and some really, really wonderful singleton recordings. I mean, Zubin Mehta did it, Jean Martinon did it, and very successfully, actually. I mean, in fact, sometimes it seems to me the people who do the best Nielsen fourth are the people who don't usually do Nielsen, because they come at it without this sort of, they just take it as it comes. Of course, there are some singleton performances which are absolute disasters, the most famous being Herbert von Karajan, who turned it into a post-Wagnerian, Straussian sort of orgasmic bore. You imagine an orgasmic bore? Well, that's what it was. I mean, just huge and big and slow and heavy and sluggish and not even all that perfectly played. I mean, the timpani duels don't come off well. The sonics were lousy. I mean, that's one of the big fails in the Karajan discography. I mean, it's a juicy fail, of course, and some people swear by it nonetheless because they think the guy could do no wrong. But that has nothing to do with the greatest recording ever, because we're not talking about necessarily the best recording of the Nielsen Fourth. We are actually, in this case, or one of the best, one of the few, but also one that is just one of those recordings where everything went well. The interpretation is as perfect as it gets. The playing is terrific, and the sonics are stupendous. And I'm referring to this one at long last. See, I really managed to delay that one until 4 minutes into the video. I'm rather proud of myself, actually. I may have kept you guessing, or you may already know, because I've talked about this performance before. It's the Scottish National Orchestra. It wasn't even royal back then. It was just the Scottish National Orchestra under Alexander Gibson on Chandos. And this was a Chandos recording that was it was recorded in 1979, it says here, even before they were making digital recordings. It's an analog recording. Yeah, an analog recording, but it was an important recording in the sense that it sort of set the pattern for what was to come. The extraordinarily fine results sonically that Chandos was making these recordings in Scotland, in Glasgow, and And Gibson was a wonderful conductor at this repertoire because he knew when to intervene and when to let the music do its thing. As, for example, in this finale, which is simply the most exciting finale anyone's ever done. It really is, hands down. It's just tremendous because he doesn't slam the brakes on for the big tune at the end. He keeps it moving. Oh, God, that's so important. And on top of it, the engineering captures those timpani battles with incredible tactile, physical presence. I mean, you hear mallets bashing on membranes. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the whole performance is like that. You also get in this particular recording Pan and Syrinx, the lovely tone poem, and the rhapsodic overture, An Imaginary Journey to the Faroe Islands, and a couple Sibelius things, which Gibson did equally well. In this case, the Dryad and On Saga. So this is a wonderful, wonderful disc. I doubt it's still available, but it was when it was available. And the performance is simply amazing. Now, Gibson also did Nielsen's Fifth, and it was really a letdown. It wasn't nearly as good. It's such a different work. It requires a different set of interpretive chops, I would say, and it's a much more highly interventionist kind of piece. You have to do more with it. But Gibson just goes for it here, straight from the gate. And it's astounding. It's absolutely astounding. I hope you have a chance to hear this performance because even if you don't know Nielsen or you don't like Nielsen, this is such a great recording just in general. I mean, as a capture, a ideal, capturing of a work in just the right sound with the right people on the right day of the week. It's just amazing. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.